Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Fred Speaks. And today I wanted to talk to you about something that we all experience and have to deal with, and it's fear, the fear of the unknown. And I was thinking about how if you were in a position and that you had no control over um, being able to continue in that position, um, forever, but you basically had to rely on someone else to make the decision on whether you would continue in that position. And for some reason, every year that the time comes around that to be renewed in that position, there's this fear like, am I going to be relieved of my duties, or will I be able to continue? And there's that fear there, like, man, what's going to happen? But fear is something that, as I mentioned, that we all experience in some shape or form in our lives. We experience it, and most of the time it's just mental. It's just a mental thing, and it has nothing to do with real facts. But we have this fear that because we don't know what the outcome is going to be, the fear basically consumes us and overtakes us and has us stressed out. Uh, and so it affects us in all different walks of life. So I mean, it can affect us in our a new job, or a new relationship, or public speaking, or our parents, and so fear um, becomes a major part in our life because we haven't learned how to face it and deal with it, because it is normal. It's normal to have fear, but the thing about it is, how do you deal with the fear? How do you overcome the fear? How do you face the fear? And that's the thing that we as human beings, the easy thing to do is to run from our fears. For example, if you never learned how to swim, uh, when you were a child, and for some reason it's branded in your mind, the worst, that fear, I'm going to drown, and so fear, basically can keep us from experiencing new things. The swimming example, you can go to the beach and everybody's out swimming, enjoying themselves, and you're on the shore, because you're afraid to take the chance. And what's the worst thing that could happen is that you could drown, but the chances of that are, the percentage of that happen, or chances of that happen, is very, very minimal. But in your mind, you feel like you're thinking the worst, that's what's going to happen if you take the chance. So then, I wanted to talk about this fear, because I encounter many people and interact with many people that you know face fear on a daily basis. I was thinking about an older gentleman was telling me about, he was walking, and all of a sudden a snake came out of nowhere. And his first he was startled at first. So fear, it will present itself. He was startled, but then his next uh, or his response to it was he grabbed a stick and basically start hitting the snake to and the snake went in a different direction. So he faced his fear. He didn't run, but he faced it. And in that, I see that when we face our fears, that there may be an opportunity or chance that that same thing may happen again. But because you faced it, now like, okay, yes, I could have been bitten, but by me facing it, that wasn't the outcome. So there is another outcome other than the worst that we're thinking in our minds, when it comes to different things that we have to encounter in life. But I want to not only just talk about fear and to express that it is something that we all experience. So nobody out there who that is listening in or listen to this later, don't feel like you're the only one that encounters fear. Even the person who gets up and speaks in front of a lot of people, and in your eyes they appear to be so confident and everything, but guess what, that person faces fear every time they get up to speak, to an audience or a group of people. But what they have done is learn to overcome their fear and use it as a stepping stone that they may be able to deliver a great speech. And so, although fear is in our minds is negative, and we want to run from our fears, actually they could be used as a stepping stone to help us or propel us to do great things and experience great things in our lives. So, what I wanted to discuss next was how can we overcome our fears? Because it's not just enough to know that we all have fears and different things that we encounter, but how do we overcome it? So for example, like you may be things may be happening at your job, and it's kind of chaotic, and it looks like there may be a chance that they're laying off people and stuff, and fear starts to take place. And if you notice how fear works, it will show you like, oh, you're going to lose this, you're going to lose that, and this is going to happen, and it's all stemming from that I don't know, that unknown. I don't know what's going to happen if I lose my job. But fear will show you and paint you a picture where the worst things possible will happen, if you were to lose, your job. But we have to face it and understand that, what, the worst, there's a strong chance that the worst may not happen. If I do lose my job, it may be an opportunity for me to get a better job, so another door opens up for me to get another job. But if I'm afraid and drive myself crazy over this fear, then all I'm thinking about is, I'm gonna die if if this happens to me. I'm gonna die. But guess what? You're not gonna die. You're not gonna die. But I wanted to talk about a few things that these are only suggestions. They're not anything that is written in stone, because I believe that every person has to find the thing that works for them. But I just wanted to recommend a few things that I feel that would help to overcome our fears. So number one is to understand the fear, to understand that, hey, you know I am human, and I'm going to face things that I don't know. I haven't. experience. And so I don't know what the outcome is going to be. However, um, I want to be able to identify, like, why is it that this particular thing causes such great fear for me? So whether it's swimming or starting a new job, or whatever it is there something that happened in my childhood that makes me or puts me in high alert uh, when this unknown thing comes about? So what is it that, you know, it causes me to be so fearful? And so this will take some, self reflection and examination, looking back over your life of different things that, uh, may be the root cause of this fear, that every time you're in a situation where you don't know what the outcome is going to be, that you just become to be so fearful, or I become to be so fearful. So that's number one. Understand the fear. And then number two is to learn about the real risks. And as I was mentioning, if I lose my job, I'm not gonna die. So it's not a something that, you know I get fired and then I go home and I lay down to sleep and I don't wake up again. And it was all because of this, me losing my job. That, the chances of that happening are very slim to none. So being able to understand what and learn what is the real risk of the fear, and then, like, for example, there was this, thing where people were saying the world was coming to an end at a certain year or whatever. And so everybody was on, in fear. And, leading up to that, just fear was just consuming people. Like, the year this is, this is when the world is going to come to an end. But the chances of that happening was, the percentage was very, 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 very extremely low. Um, so learning what is the real risk? What will happen if this particular thing occurs, or the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen, but it something does occur. What's the real risk? What is the magnitude? And I was thinking about, a lift. And I have a thing for heights. And so you're on an elevator or something, and you get to a floor, and and it's like it stops or whatever. And then, so learning the risks, it's like, okay, so let's say I do get stuck on the lift or the elevator, and I do get stuck. So, but if I learn about the risk, and the operator tells me, hey, the longest anybody have been stuck on the lift or the elevator is 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So I'm learning what the real risk is, and then being able to, okay, so 5 minutes, I can face that. I can deal with that. I gotta, face it, because it may happen again. But if it happens again, I've had the experience. I faced it, and now I can start to overcome it. So that's number two. Learn about the real risks of the fear. And then number three is power of visualization. So basically, through visualization and meditation, instead of focusing on the negative of the unknown, focus on the positive, that, hey, this is the outcome that could happen. Instead of, if I lose my job, I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose. But if I lose my job, another door opens for me, and I have a better job, I'm still able to maintain everything that I've accumulated, and I got better benefits. I got, so looking at the positive and meditating and through visualization, and you have to, in order to do this, the visualization and meditation, you need to find a quiet place that you can get to yourself, that there's minimum to no noise at all, and that you can just start focusing on the positive. So even when you are in a situation where there's word or there's chatter about something is going to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen, but there's tension in the air, and just being able to steal away to a quiet place and just meditate and just think about the positive, that even though like in the situation, you don't want to lose your job, but just think about the doors that could open, and the opportunities, and because maybe it might be time to move on, so it's a blessing in disguise. And instead of having fear, having optimism that hey, this could be something positive for me, and allow me to go to another level or chapter in my life. So power of visualization. So it's key to have that quiet place, um, to be able to visualize and meditate, and it has to be a practice, that we have to do, in order to overcome the fear. So it's not something you do just one day and then you stop, but it's something that you have to continue to do, and add into your daily routine. So power of visualization, and then the next recommendation or step is take baby steps. So a lot of times we set a bar, which is good to set the bar high, um, but at the same time we need to make things realistic and more achievable. So sometimes you have to take baby steps, um, to eradicate fear. So, for example, if you have a fear of public speaking, um, so instead of like throwing yourself out there in front of a huge crowd, taking a baby step would be, okay, let me gather some friends and family members, at my house or at someone's house, and then me being able to address them, give a speech, or on a particular subject. And so that's taking those baby steps to overcoming the fear. And then as you master that, and then you can start to expand it from family and friends to maybe co-workers, or neighbors, or you know and then the more you do it, the more you overcome the fear. So taking baby steps, and then last but not least is you know when there's fear, we can be so serious, but sometimes, like last night, I was driving, I was coming home, on my way home, and I saw the the uh the little gate, the lifts that come down for when their train is coming. To my left, I saw it, that the train tracks were to my left, uh and so I saw the lift come down, and so I'm just focused on driving, and all of a sudden the train made that noise. As it was approaching the roadway, it made that noise, and it startled me, and I was like, no, God. And sometimes in life there are things that will shock us, And, you know, immediately fear will try to set in, but then we have to be able to face our fears. And that's what I really want, the point I want to get across is this is not just for everyone that's listening, but it's for myself as well, is that we have to face our fears, whether it's taking baby steps, um, or using different techniques, the power of visualization, um, learning, our fears so we understand it better. And, you know, whatever methods we use, the main thing is that we face our fears, because you just, there's so many things that we miss out on, because of fear. And that's why I really wanted to do this podcast, because I there's so many things in my life where I've like ran away from it. I wouldn't face it because of fear. And and so when you're able to face your fears, you'll be surprised. Like, you'll look back and like, man, why was I so afraid of that? And really there's nothing to it. It's like, I remember one time I was there was this, roller coaster, and it was new, and it was like probably about 200 feet, a 200 feet drop. And I was like, man, I don't know. And I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Not only did I do it, I got into the first cart of the roller coaster. And fear was there. Fear was there. But man, I'm telling you, once I did it, I was so proud of myself, because I faced it and I went through with it. And that's how life can be. It's like, there's so many opportunities that are awaiting us, and but we can't get to them because fear is in the way. And so we have to be able to face the fear. And like with the roller coaster, you hear these things on the news. Roller coaster went off track, and people were injured or killed, whatever. And you're like, man, no, 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 I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But man, the percentage of that happening is very low. And I know people, will say, well, that percentage, that could be me. And it could be you. But you don't want to live your life like that, in fear. And because it will hinder you and keep you from experiencing some great things and propelling you to do great things in your life. So I hope that this podcast tonight was, a help, a benefit, to someone that is listening or will be listening to it later. But that's it. Let us face our fears, the fear of the unknown. It is a lot of situations where that things are unknown, but hey, if we can learn to, channel and face our fears, we can do great things in life, and we can achieve great opportunities. So good night.